Breaking just moments ago, President Trump issuing a new warning to Iran, posting on Truth Social, quote, any and all damages done to ships, cargo, or anything related thereto will be paid for by Iranian money that the United States has in its possession and controls. These damages may be very substantial, but nevertheless, this is the fair and equitable thing to do. This comes after previously vowing, quote, major military punishment on the terrorist regime if the Houthis launch any more attacks on Saudi vessels in the Red Sea.
With the Houthis jumping into the war and Iran still retaliating with strikes, questions arising about who is helping these terrorists. Russia, China, Secretary of State Marco Rubio addressing that earlier.
Nothing that Iran is doing, nothing that anyone's doing to help Iran is in any way increasing their ability to target Americans. What you need to all understand, because we've explained this repeatedly, is Iran has spent the better part of 20 years not just sponsoring terrorism, but building long-range rockets, short-range missiles, and drones. And they were intending to build them a lot more.
Here now, Fox News contributor and former CIA station chief Dan Hoffman and Foundation for Defense of Democracies founder Cliff May. Gentlemen, a pleasure always, with gratitude. Dan, how much, and a lot of the focus has been how quickly Iran has been able to rebuild, dig out its missiles, but how much of this firepower that we've seen out of the Iranian regime has been through the help of Russia and or China, and not just intelligence, but actual, like them sending munitions to Iran?
Yeah, well, I think our intelligence community is tracking a couple of different developments here. First of all, Iran dispersed their drones and their missiles and the launch sites throughout their country, and that's a pretty expansive piece of geography. And so it makes it more challenging for us to target all of those sites, and we haven't been successful in targeting every one of them. So Iran has a residual arsenal of drones and missiles, which we have not successfully eliminated. Iran has received significant intelligence support from China and Russia, particularly on targeting United States bases overseas. As far as whether they're receiving drones, reportedly Russia and Iran working very closely on drones, and the Russians have supplied Iran with additional technology. China has given Iran dual-use technology that they've used for their missiles and drones. And the Chinese have done the same thing with Russia. So what we're seeing here is this century's axis of dictatorships, Russia, China, Iran, and North Korea, all unified in their desire to eliminate or at least reduce U.S. influence around the world, especially in their own self-designated spheres of influence.
So, Cliff, we've got all of this sort of new news about the president saying we're going to ramp up attacks against Iran, and we're going to use their money to pay back ship owners whose cargo gets damaged by the Iranians. That looks to me like a new level of, I don't want to say resilience, but a new level of we're going to take it to these guys because the path of diplomacy just has not borne fruit. Are we at a new level here?
I think we're moving towards a new level. Absolutely, we have some funds that we in our possession. They should be used for all the victims, including those who have been killed by Iranians or by Iranian proxies, including many servicemen, hundreds of servicemen in Iraq, thanks to IEDs that were supplied from Iran. All of that is important. We need, I would argue, listen, we would like to see regime change. Regime collapse would be very good, and if not, regime crippling, by which I mean this regime should not have the power, should not be able to project power. Let me just say one more important thing. The president continues to say, rightly so, we can't let this regime have nuclear weapons. I'm going to be blunt and say why that's true. And the reason is, if this regime were to have nuclear weapons, they would use them. You understand that if you understand the theology that has driven this regime for 47 years. I was there 47 years ago during the revolution. Carter administration got it all wrong. They thought that Ayatollah Khomeini was a man of peace, a spiritual leader. No, they will use anything they have. That's why we don't want them to have nuclear weapons, and by the way, missiles to deliver them anywhere on Earth.
Amen. And on to this, gentlemen. President Trump putting the ball in Saudi Arabia's court, saying any nuclear deal is totally, quote, subject to Saudi Arabia joining the very respected and successful Abraham Accords. And for viewers in need of a reminder, the Abraham Accords currently include 5 countries, a series of agreements aimed at normalizing diplomatic and economic relations between Israel and Arab and Muslim majority nations. Dan, does this put this nuclear deal in serious doubt?
I'm not sure that it does as of yet. It's worth noting that Energy Secretary Chris Wright negotiated that agreement with his Saudi counterpart, so it was more narrow, I think, than the president would have liked. There's 2 areas of concern here. One is the Abraham Accords, and remember, Saudi Arabia discussed that with the Biden administration, and they were not prepared to join the Abraham Accords until Israel would allow a 2-state solution, which definitely doesn't seem to be in the realm of the possible right now. The other question is about enriching uranium in Saudi Arabia. So, look, we're in the early days here. The Congress will get to weigh in on this, but it's an important discussion to have. It's happening publicly, which is something that we often don't see with diplomatic agreements, but I suppose that's okay too. The key thing, I think, is not just where we started, it's where we end up, and we'll have to see what sort of an agreement we ultimately have with Saudi Arabia.
Cliff, real quick exit answer. Does the Saudi nuclear deal get done? Yes or no?
I think it's still a maybe. I think we can't say for sure. I'd rather it be more like the deal we have with the Emiratis. But if it brings them into the Abraham Accords, that's an important achievement for the president, for sure.
You're right. That wasn't a fair question.
No,
that was a good answer, though.
You could just say, that's my answer.
Dan Hoffman, Cliff May, great stuff, guys.
Look,
always nice to see you. Thank you very much.
You too. Thank you very much.